Well, good morning, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is John Campbell. I'm President and CEO of Waterfront Toronto, and I want to thank you for joining us this morning for this important announcement about ultra broadband on our waterfront. This is an initiative that we've been working hard on for some time now, and are excited very much to share the details with you today on that. Joining me today to present to you are Dan Armstrong, the founding partner and president and CEO of Beanfield Metro Connect; Evan Kelly, who's our partner and communications industry practice leader in PricewaterhouseCoopers; John Young, chairman and co-founder Intelligent Community Forum and CEO Canada's Technology Triangle; and Renata DeCenza, the president and CEO of Invest Toronto. When Waterfront Toronto was established by the governments of Canada, Ontario, and the City of Toronto, they tasked us with revitalizing the waterfront, not just redeveloping it. We're mandated with more than just redevelopment of the publicly owned real estate and transforming old, contaminated industrial lands into new communities. We're also mandated to do it in a manner that delivers long-term economic growth and attracts new jobs to the waterfront. We're mandated to revitalize in a way that sets new standards for sustainability and makes the waterfront a model in sustainable development. We're also mandated to ensure that the new waterfront communities are showcase communities that attract people from around the world to work, to live, to play, and to learn. Today, we're thrilled to be sharing with you our plans to wire our new waterfront communities with the latest in smart technology infrastructure that will make them among the most connected in the world. This is infrastructure that will permit us to fulfill our revitalization mandate, to produce economic growth and deliver new jobs, to reach new levels of sustainable development, and to make Toronto's waterfront truly world-leading. Our waterfront communities will feature open access, ultra-broadband fiber optic infrastructure that will establish them as intelligent communities that revolutionize how residents receive telecommunications services. The infrastructure will promote economic growth and development and will enable innovation, all kinds of innovation. This is smart, 21st century public infrastructure that cities need in order to be competitive today and, more importantly, to remain competitive into the future. Infrastructure is crucial to support cities and to enable them to grow. Over the last century and a half, infrastructure such as electricity, roads, railways, and telecom systems enabled the growth of industry and economic development. Today, we're living in an age of technology and information that is expanding and unfolding at a rapid pace. In this age of digital information, it is ultra-broadband infrastructure that will enable innovation. I'm pleased to announce that we are partnering with the pioneering telecommunications firm Beanfield Metro Connect to create Canada's first open-access, ultra-high-speed broadband network on the waterfront. This network will enable Toronto's waterfront communities, and by extension, the City of Toronto, to be competitive with other world-leading cities that are aggressively building similar infrastructures, such as Seoul, Stockholm, Tokyo, London, and Paris. Together with Beanfield Metro Connect, we're going to wire every home and business in the new communities with fiber and provide them with affordable and unlimited access to internet speeds of up to 500 times faster than typical North American residential networks. Plus, we will provide full community-wide Wi-Fi service. The ultra-high-speed network will deliver internet connections starting at 100 megabits per second for residential customers and up to 10 gigabits per second for commercial customers, all at an extraordinarily affordable cost. Until now, broadband of this caliber has not been available for residential use in Toronto, and access for business has been significantly more expensive in Toronto than in other leading global cities. And it's been proven in other communities that ultra-fast broadband networks available for reasonable cost result in an increase in investment and economic growth. We believe that knowledge and creative industries, like digital media and entertainment companies, like Chorus, will also choose to locate in our waterfront communities because of the unparalleled quality of this information and communications technology, available for about half the cost for 10 gigabits per second as elsewhere. These are industries that are growth factors for Ontario and Toronto, and access to ultra-broadband services at affordable prices will help grow them here. As well, the affordability and quality of access will remove a significant barrier to innovation, helping startups and growing businesses to become the industry leaders of tomorrow. The open, flexible, and robust community-based network is enabling infrastructure that will make the waterfront communities living laboratories that promote and enable innovation. The network will mean that smart buildings, smart healthcare, smart education are all possible on the waterfront. As well, no taxpayer dollars will be used to build a network. We have facilitated an arrangement where our private sector development partners will initially provide the upfront capital, and Beanfield MetroConnect will also invest in building the network. Our initial investment in research and development to ensure that the waterfront communities will be among the leading intelligent communities in the world will be recovered as the network is developed and those funds are reinvested in waterfront revitalization. We selected Beanfield MetroConnect as our partner in this venture following an open and competitive procurement process. Beanfield MetroConnect brings significant local knowledge and expertise to the project. The company has built and operates a large fiber optic network in downtown Toronto. It provides service to more than 200 commercial buildings, including Chorus Quay, in which we are today. The company built its first community-wide commercial network in Liberty Village in the 1990s, and that was instrumental in helping to build the thriving technology and media hub that Liberty Village is now today. So to tell us more about MetroConnect, Beanfield MetroConnect, and how the network will revolutionize how residents receive telecom services is Dan Armstrong, the company's founding partner, president, and CEO. So Dan, over to you.
So Beanfield is very excited and proud to be part of the Waterfront project, and we're really looking forward to contribute to the success of it. As John mentioned, Beanfield MetroConnect is a local company. We're 100% Canadian owned and based in Toronto. We have a fiber optic network throughout downtown Toronto with just over 200 commercial buildings on net. We currently serve commercial clients, both wholesale and retail, ranging from the smallest single-person businesses right up to huge multinational companies. Our bread and butter is selling internet access to business customers, although we do have additional services such as business phone and point-to-point circuits, just to name a couple. With our wholesale offerings, we are actually the underlying network for carriers who don't actually own their own infrastructure in Toronto. Waterfront Toronto's Intelligent Community Initiative is the perfect opportunity for us to take the next logical step in our evolution as a company. We are tasked with building a fiber optic network throughout the development that will connect every building, both commercial and residential, to a real game-changing ultra-broadband network. Residents in the new waterfront communities will have the highest performance internet services in Canada, guaranteed to be among the best in the world for at least 10 years. We are required to ensure that the network is among the 7 leading intelligent community services for at least the next decade. The 10-year guarantee is from when the last building is built. This means there will be ongoing investment to make sure that we are always on top. Every residential unit within Waterfront will have a dedicated fiber optic cable run to it. This fiber will be lit up with gigabit Ethernet optics. Over this network, we will deliver 100 megabit internet access, a revolutionary IPTV offering, and home phone service. The network will also be purpose-built to allow wholesale access. So any other content provider that wishes to sell content to residents within Waterfront can interconnect with us and sell service to customers. The wholesale access model essentially removes the huge capital cost of building this sort of infrastructure, and we hope that this will spur on creativity and innovative new services for residents of Waterfront. We have chosen Cisco as our primary technology partner because of their extensive experience with smart and connected communities all over the world. Having this sort of capacity available to residential consumers will allow for a whole new world of applications we haven't even conceived of yet. Applications on the internet today have all been dumbed down to work with the lowest common denominator of access speed. As that speed increases, the applications will become that much more exciting. Now, you've probably heard about the fact that the internet is running out of IP addresses and that there will be a nasty transition to the new IP version 6 addressing scheme. Well, that's all true. But rest assured, the network at Waterfront will be fully IP version 6 ready from day one. To further enhance our user experience, we are going to build a state-of-the-art 802.11n Wi-Fi network with Cisco's next generation AeroNet access points that will cover all the public spaces within Waterfront. Access to this Wi-Fi network will be included in the basic connection fee at no additional cost. It will allow people to leave the confines of their homes and connect with similar blazing fast speed. They can hang out at Sugar Beach and work on their laptops. And as you know, Waterfront Toronto is not just about building buildings. They're striving to build a strong community. We are going to help support this goal by developing and maintaining a community web portal. We don't know exactly what it will look like yet, but it will evolve as the community evolves. The idea is to make sure that all businesses within Waterfront have a web presence, even ones that ordinarily wouldn't. We'll have a community marketplace on it to allow people living, working, or playing here to connect with other individuals, groups, or businesses. It will have live video feeds from CCTV cameras around the development, so you could check the video on the portal to see if there's a free seat out at Sugar Beach, or you could keep an eye on your kids playing in Underpass Park. We are also talking to all of the developers about tying in some exciting smart building services as well. So residents will pay a low flat monthly fee of $60 a month for fully unrestricted 100 megabit internet access. That's 100 megabits in both directions with no usage charges. The $60 fee also includes access to the Wi-Fi network and access to the community portal. If a customer opts for all three of our services, internet access, IPTV, and home phone, the all-in bundle price will be around $100, which is much cheaper than anywhere else. So residents get more for less. You may have heard of these sort of ultra-broadband networks being built in other places around the world, including what Google is doing in the United States. So we're also breaking the mold a bit, and we want to make sure that our technical support staff are particularly accessible. We plan to locate them in a storefront right within the new communities. We hope that customers will come to form a more personal relationship with them instead of just being treated like a number. For more complex problems, the technical staff will be close by enough they can actually go visit customers for on-site help. Also, as part of our commitment to getting involved in the community, we are going to encourage innovation. We are going to support 2 scholarships, one per year for computer science at U of T and one at George Brown College. And this network is not all about the residents. It packs huge muscle for business customers as well. Businesses within Waterfront will also be connected to this network and will have access to our entire suite of telecommunications services at a better price than anywhere else. Our services include internet access, business phone, broadcast backhaul, point-to-point circuits between destinations within Waterfront, and circuits between Waterfront destinations and other buildings anywhere in the city. Because the entire development will be pre-wired, we will be able to turn up services within 2 days. Timelines unheard of in our industry. In addition to those services, we are planning on building a major data center within Waterfront, where business customers that have extreme data center and co-location requirements can co-locate equipment in a highly secure, monitored facility with fully redundant backup power, cooling, and connectivity. Private point-to-point circuits between the co-location center and all of the offices are, of course, available. In closing, I would like to thank you again for coming out, and we really look forward to getting this network rolled out.
Recently, Price Waterhouse released their Cities of Opportunity report, which assessed the performance and potential of leading global cities. Toronto fared fairly well in that report, but not really at all in the technology readiness category. And to tell us more about the report and the importance of technology readiness and why broadband matters is Evan Kelly, the Partner in Communications Industry Practice Leader for Canada with Price Waterhouse.
As John mentioned, PwC produces a Cities of Opportunity report, the 4th such study, which was just recently released. Copies of the study, we brought a couple hard copies and electronic copies on USB keys. They'll be available out beside the muffins for anybody who wants to pick up a copy on their way out. The study is dedicated to understanding and explaining what makes urban dynamics work, taking into consideration elements of economy, social well-being, and the environment. The report evaluates 26 world-class cities across 66 different variables, which are distilled into 10 indices. Overall, Toronto ranks 2nd, only to New York, with our city getting strong marks in areas such as intellectual capital, innovation, health and safety, and livability. In fact, it was Intellectual Capital and Innovation Index, which is the most highly correlated index with the other indices and the leading indicator of health of a city. Not surprising, Technology Readiness, another index, was also a highly important indicator of overall city health. Toronto scored well on intellectual capital and innovation, second only to Stockholm, which is comprised of measures of educational effectiveness, research and development, and entrepreneurialism. However, Toronto did not score as well on technology readiness, 12th overall, which is driven by quality and accessibility of information, communication, and technology infrastructure. Now, I've spent most of my career in the communications industry, and I've visited most of the cities in the report, and I must admit I have a little bit of a problem on how they assess technology readiness. I think, perhaps 12th is not an exact fairness for Toronto, but we're not in the top 5, which is why today the timing of the study and today's briefing and announcement is so important. Back in the 1990s, PwC published its technology forecast, which focused on how the public internet would change everything, and it has. It has changed the way we work and the way we play. It has changed the way we learn and how we communicate. It has changed the way we buy and what we value, and it has changed the way we define ourselves and the communities in which we live. But the pace of change is not slowing. New services and applications are emerging daily, which are aimed at all areas of our personal and professional lives, in particular the explosion of video-based services for things like entertainment, healthcare, and education are defining the next era of the Internet. All of this rides on broadband infrastructure. So if the Internet-based services and applications have become integral parts of our lives, then access to those services and applications become an important quality of life element, and one that is necessary to attract the brightest talent and the most promising businesses to our city. And if all of those services and applications run on broadband infrastructure, we better make sure we have enough of it, that it's accessible, and that it works. The proliferation of services and applications, and in particular video, is putting tremendous strain on existing communications infrastructure. As a result, you are seeing and will see in years to come an unprecedented build-out of infrastructure around the world. In a recent report, Cisco forecasts that Internet traffic will increase fourfold by 2015. Over the same period, the Yankee Group estimates that the telecom industry will spend over $1 trillion of capital trying to keep up. So what does this mean for Toronto? It means that if we want to remain a leading global city, investment like Waterfront Toronto's in ultra broadband are required as part of a city's infrastructure foundation, just like other essential infrastructures such as electricity or water. But there are a couple things to keep in mind. Firstly, broadband is not like Field of Dreams. Just because you build it does not mean that they will come. There's lots of examples of overbuilt cities and territories where broadband infrastructure sits underused because of not enough focus on the use of infrastructure and other elements which are addressed as part of Waterfront Toronto's plan here. This is what I like to call the vertical integration perspective, which takes into consideration the vision, the training, the services and applications, and the commitment to creating a sustainable competitive advantage over time. The second point I'd like to make is that communication revolution is all about connecting. If all we do is connect with ourselves, it's a bit like staring in a mirror, or for some of us, downright scary. So creating an island of advanced broadband communication capability, in my view, will limit the economic and social benefits that can be derived from the investment. It's important to be able to connect it with communities of similar capability. Keeping pace with the world and connecting with the global village is great, but we have limited influence outside our borders. But within our borders, we have a much better chance of making a difference. And it's this element of horizontal integration which drives the need for certain consistency of vision and investment at a municipal, provincial, and federal level, which all form part of a digital strategy, something we're looking forward to at a federal level. So in summary, Waterfront Toronto's investment in ultra broadband is an important and critical element to a city of opportunity, and one that is necessary to attract the best talent and the most promising businesses. It is part of a foundation to drive economic growth and social benefits. We look forward to doing our next Cities of Opportunity report and seeing Toronto score much higher on the Technology Readiness Index and taking over top spot from New York. Thank you.
Yeah, you heard me talk about how ultra broadband will help us transform the waterfront into an intelligent community. To explain more about intelligent communities and why they matter and what they can achieve, we have John Young, who's joined us today, the chairman and co-founder of the Intelligent Community Forum.
I'm really pleased to be here on behalf of the Intelligent Community Forum. The Intelligent Community Forum is a think tank that studies economic and social development in the 21st century and actively promotes ways to create prosperity, stability, and cultural meaning in a world where jobs, investment, and knowledge increasingly depend on advanced communications. In addition to research on how things such as ultra-high-speed broadband make sense and are important in communities, we also look at ways in which we can share best practices around the world. And, you know, one of the things that I think might be very important for you to know is that John Campbell came to one of our first gatherings in New York City in 2004, and from that he came up with this idea and wanted to make sure that it was one of the key pillars of the Toronto waterfront. So an intelligent community is one of those kinds of ideas that I think now is being heard around the world. But intelligent communities are more than just towns, cities, and regions that focus on high-speed broadband and related technologies. You know, it's more than that. You've heard some of the speakers already talk about it's more than just putting wire in the ground. It's more than having just broadband infrastructure that you can buy and insert into a community. You have to know what to do with it and to try and encourage a community to actually use it and to prosper from it. So we look for those key indicators, and we have 5 key ones. In addition to broadband connectivity, ICF looks for the importance of having a robust knowledge workforce about the ability to create, attract, and, you know, more importantly, retain that talent in a community that's needed for the jobs of the future today. It looks at creating an ecosystem that promotes and enables innovation and creativity to thrive. It looks at ways for all of our citizens to participate in the digital economy. We call that digital inclusion. And finally, we need to ensure that we have an ecosystem, an environment, good governance in a region that allows us to advocate and to market the concept of intelligent communities locally, but also to market it abroad. You know, the world is highly competitive. You're going to hear from Invest Toronto and others that we have to differentiate ourselves and be able to have the best in systems and best in practices to be able to compete effectively in order to attract and to retain that foreign direct investment that's so hard to bring to this community, as well as to help grow businesses locally. Intelligent communities around the world are those communities that are leading the way to creating innovative, collaborative, and highly advanced communities that are able to create, attract, and retain the talent, capital, and investments needed to thrive. So on Friday in New York City, ICF awarded top honors to a small community in Eindhoven, Holland, home of Philips, and renowned for Henry Cheseborough's concept of open innovation. And this was only made possible by high-speed broadband in that community, as well as the highly creative and talented people in Eindhoven, Holland. Last year, we also gave top honors to Suwon, Korea, just outside of Seoul. This is a community that depends on high-speed gigabit environments in order to attract the kind of talent necessary to help companies like Samsung succeed. In North America, we have some smaller cities that are really taking the cake on what we're doing. They're doing big things in a small town like Chattanooga. Chattanooga has a gigabit smart grid environment that's been able to be rolled out to 170,000 homes and businesses in its community. But more importantly, what it's been able to do is to attract a huge amount of investment. Lots of people wanted to get the high-tech Volkswagen plant in other parts of North America. Chattanooga got it. A lot of people were after Amazon.com's distribution hub. Chattanooga got it. Blue Cross and Blue Shield's medical center. U.S. Express's headquarters. All of them are dependent on high-speed broadband, but it's all those other factors that also come into play that were important in making that happen. And finally, they were able to steal Atlanta's Sim Center, renowned for its simulation and highly creative research capabilities. This is a small town that's done a lot. Another small town not far away is Waterloo, Ontario. They were the Intelligent Community of the Year in 2007. Now, in addition to broadband access, much smaller and less speeds than what we have here, nevertheless, it's the home of RIM with its major hub. But also other serious businesses like OpenText, Comdeb, AGFA, and Christie Digital. But more importantly than the capabilities of broadband and even the opportunities of collaboration among businesses, government, and institutions, were its leadership. Leadership in that community through people like the president of the University of Waterloo, now our Governor General, David Johnston, and RIM's Jim Balsillie and Mike Lazaridis. They helped to create the environment and the ecosystem that now many companies thrive in and incubate in. So OpenText is one of those community groups that promote their community, but also we have many other cities, groups and companies that are part of that. Now, open access networks have proven successful in places like Asia, US, and Europe, and the best known that you probably have looked at is Vasterus, Sweden. They have dozens of providers, hundreds of services, and they all factor into providing opportunities for 40,000 homes and businesses. There are many other examples that the intelligent community can offer you. We service and provide activities for over 100 cities around the world on every continent of this globe. And we think that Toronto Waterfront's plans meets this criteria and the principles of being an intelligent community. From an infrastructure perspective, its fiber optic network is going to provide open access for everyone in the community, residents, institutions, and businesses, with what I understand is virtually unlimited access to the infrastructure and to a unique portal as it's going to be developed. I believe that this is going to enable creative enterprises, knowledge work, and research to thrive in this environment, and it's going to provide opportunities for higher productivity and prosperity for all. Thank you, John.
And lastly, I'd like to call on Renata DiCenza, the CEO and President of Invest Toronto.
From the vantage point of what we do at Invest Toronto, and as John Young said, all the great cities, the 26 cities opportunities, every one of them is out there fiercely competing. And you see all the elements of what we have to sell, or by and large all of them right here. First of all, you need to have a vibrant city, and it has to look vibrant. And you see the cranes, and you see the buildings, physical manifestation of the success of Toronto. But then you also see the wonderful waterfront, which talks about the livability, the environment. And sitting here, many people, you can be sitting on one of the most vibrant waterfronts in the world looking out at this gorgeous view. And you still have the industry that's important to the city. And you have the college and university, as George Brown is right next door to us. And the most important thing that investors look for is purposeful intelligence in city design. It's interesting when we talk about waterfront is the development of waterfront. The reality is it's the redevelopment of waterfront. The first time, it wasn't done with as much insight and vision. This waterfront was developed. It was developed haphazardly over decades and people using it as an industrial wasteland. The difference now in this development, as you saw today with today's initiative, it's being developed with a vision of what makes a city work. And that's important for investors. And when I go around the world, and particularly as we go east and south, the most important thing for investors is to participate in a city that has a vision. They want to know, where will I be? What people will I be able to attract? Who will my partners be? And will I be connected to the world? And this initiative takes all that into account. And it's so important for us to remember that in building cities, it's our ability to reach out to the world that's going to differentiate us. So I'm so delighted that we didn't just build a waterfront and think about buildings and wonderful parks, because those are important. PwC in the report said how livability is an important factor. It's one of the top factors. The other correlation ones, technology readiness, ease of doing business, which is important, safety and security. In point of fact, the top 5 correlating factors in becoming a city of opportunity is being able to take care and secure the people who create. And it doesn't matter if they're creating art, or if they're creating engines, or even creating financial derivatives. It's all about, can you attract and retain and make it easy for those people who generate GDP, who generate ideas that are used around the world. And this is an example, this kind of initiative, this building is an example of what's going to differentiate us. Investors come to me and say, you know what, I want to know where will I be, how it will play out in the future. I can get a building anywhere in the world. But they want iconic buildings. They want iconic spaces. They want a workforce that's educated and a workforce that loves living where they work. And so the Waterfront Initiative and this particular initiative actually is emboldening both of those things. We're giving the tools to take care and secure our most precious asset, which are those that create at every level, at every job, and that will work and live in the city. Because if we can bring those people here, the businesses come. Because that is the toughest asset to secure, talent. So this initiative, I'm very excited about. I was fortunate enough to be beginning the discussion of it years ago, and I'm glad that Bill Hutchinson and John Campbell and the team stuck to it. It is going to be a game changer in terms of the way we think about building cities, and I'm confident that it will be also a game changer in the way I can help sell the city. Investors are going to be delighted to know that Toronto is taking care of the people who create and making it a great place for them to work, live, and play. So I congratulate Waterfront on this spectacular announcement.